Welcome to Whistleblowers in partnership with Wix Trade Pro. Right, this is Whistleblowers, the bonus ball. Welcome back. Mark Clattenburg is here, Ian Ladyman is here, and I am here. I am Gordon Smart, and I am a happy man because I'm going to the World Cup.
Whoa.
Yay!
Coming home.
So I'm going to stay on the floor of Mark's 6-bedroom villa in Los Angeles, whether he likes it or not. And Ian, I may come and visit you in your Linton Travel Tavern somewhere in Charlottesville.
It's subject. How do you know? Subject to visa.
Is it? Subject to visa.
I have my visa application on Friday.
When they have a little look into your previous employment, you might not be allowed
One thing
in.
that I'm very good at is not doing anything on social media. So I'm clear on that one.
Good.
Have you got to get your visa?
Have you got a visa?
Yeah, I'll have to get a visa, yeah.
So I'm pleased to be going. So you're definitely there.
I'll be there.
Do you know the games you've been assigned yet?
Yeah, I'll do England and I'll do a couple of games in New York and I'll do one Scotland game. And I'll imagine from the knockouts, if England is still there, I'll probably just do England.
Yeah.
It'll be mainly England.
Is New York or New Jersey?
West New Jersey.
New Jersey. The last time England won the World Cup, it was the year of the fire horse. It is the year of the fire horse again.
Yes, correct.
So
this year of the cart horse.
Could potentially be the worst year of my life. England winning the World Cup, Hearts winning the league.
Look, England won't win the World Cup.
This could be, yeah.
England won't win the World Cup. Hearts may well win the Scottish Premiership, that's for sure. How bad would you seriously take it very badly if England won the World Cup?
Yeah.
Would you?
I would. Well, yeah, just because it's to live in a country where, you know, with your biggest rival, to watch the celebrations, and there's a typical kind of, I just keep thinking of that England World Cup rugby winning side. Matt Dawson still annoys me. You know,
well, I think he'd be annoying you whether he'd won the World Cup or not. Yeah, he would have done,
actually. That's a fair point.
He's just a bit annoying.
He's very, very proud of himself. There's a way
if
to
you
win
beat
and a way to
Brazil,
lose.
you beat Brazil and England win the World Cup.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with that.
Actually, I would be quite happy with that. Yeah, because it means I could probably stay in America a little bit longer. Yeah, in Miami in particular.
I want Scotland to do well.
Yeah,
me too.
That what really annoys me.
It's not patronising.
It's England.
That was one of the best games of footy.
Little
wasn't it? That match.
Tartan team. You do actually want Scotland to do well.
That's what Scotland to do well.
It's because you're a good guy.
It's what Wales do well.
That match against Denmark was one of the best matches I've seen for a long time.
Ridiculous.
The best goals I've ever saw in my life.
Yeah. Ridiculous. And this is the thing about Scotland. And I mean, they're a bad football team. They're a bad football team who were going to the World Cup.
Wow.
They're
I'm
a
not seeing that.
football team.
Do you know what we were? We weren't
good. Who were going with a good guys manager. I've interviewed Steve Clark, good guys manager, but they're a poor football team. You know what? Last time, this probably is the last time England played Scotland at that one at Hampden.
Yeah, it was the centenary celebration, wasn't it? Or 150th.
And I think
anniversary.
England won 3-1 or something. And at that time, Jude Bellingham played very well that night.
He was excellent.
That night, Scotland were on quite a good run.
Yeah,
I was absolutely astonished at how bad Scotland were that night.
We were really bad that night, actually, because I went with an expectation that night.
You went with your lad, didn't you?
Yeah.
I was quite shocked by how bad you were.
I was quite humbled by it, yeah, because we had been pretty good up until that point.
Yeah, you had.
Actually, it kind of was a bit of a turning point in our performances. We've not been great. We were lucky to qualify, but those were the 3 best Scotland goals I think I've seen in the flesh. But also the best Old Firm goal I think ever was scored at the weekend. Did you see it last weekend?
Oh, what a strike from the Rangers
kick.
Oh, I've read about it, not seen it.
What a strike.
I think it's one of the best.
They signed him from Everton.
I think so, yeah.
The weird thing about
what a player.
About Scotland in the World Cup and other nations who go to the World Cup and you qualify. You know, England go to the World Cup and everyone thinks we're going to win, right, every time. That's ridiculous arrogance, okay? Just the way we are. Scotland go to the World Cup, like with the Euros in Germany. So, this is brilliant. We're just going for the party, right? And everyone's, we're just going for the party. It doesn't matter what happens. And then you go to the Euros in Germany and you're rubbish. And then all of a sudden it does matter. Everyone was really pissed off with how bad Scotland were at the Euros. Yeah. So that notion of it's just going to be a great party does go out the window.
That wasn't the attitude for us, though. I went with an expectation with the squad of players we had. We don't have a good striker and we didn't have a winger, really. But I still went with some expectation, and I hate hearing tournament football's different. You've got 3 games. Go for it. Have a go. And in the last game, when we were desperately trying to score, in the last 50 minutes, we threw Lawrence Shankland on, and it felt like a proper game of football, because up until that point, the Germany game was
I was at
humbling,
Yeah, but come on, you
humiliating.
weren't expecting to win that, especially
No.
with it down to 10 men after what, 5-10 minutes?
Yeah, when Ryan Porteous really made a mess of it.
No,
for
but
us,
you couldn't have had an expectation against the home
back
nation.
to that point, though, is it not the same?
We did well against Brazil in '98 in the first game, didn't we?
That was 1998. We're talking
Correct.
about 2000. How many?
But we've
30,
got
30 years
we've
on?
got better players. Like, it's arguably a better team now, isn't it?
You think so?
McTominay, McGinn, Robertson, Tierney. They're all
They're
really good
aging now,
players.
aren't they?
54-year-old goalkeeper.
Aging now.
Yeah, but listen,
Great
what a
story.
goalkeeper he is,
Great
by the
story,
way.
that is.
What a goalkeeper he is.
Very good story.
But
Aging
I think we'll all be there. So let's see what happens.
Yes, let's see if we all come back.
Let's have a game.
Let's see if we all get in.
First to be deported.
Let's see if we all get in.
Turned away.
Let's see if we all get in, and then let's see how long we manage to stay there.
Suddenly,
I'm
Mark's
staying.
changing.
See if I can come back. I should
On a horse.
See if I can come back on a horse. If I can come back looking any different than I did before I go.
Ian, you've got whiter.
Come on, can I go? Can I pick up any kind of suntan while I'm in America for 5
Scientists
weeks?
are examining your translucent skin to see.
The
I can
complexion
see him
of a
buying
new-
a bottle of Saint-Tropez and duty-free on his way out.
complexion of a newly born
Yeah.
fish. My mate
With a
always
false
says,
tan.
newly born fish.
Excellent.
We'll see him on a podcast and he'll be like, orange.
I was on that Sky back pages thing that we all do for a few quid on an evening. I was on it last Friday. My dad, he's 87 and is possibly the nicest man in the world. And even he said to me when I saw him, he said, next time you're on there, put your glasses on.
Yeah.
So I don't need my glasses on. I said, that's not the point, son. Just put your glasses on.
Somebody said to me in Scotland once, you'd get a tan off a Kindle.
Yeah.
Makes me laugh every time. Every time. Right, boys, we've got a question from John. He says all the kind things, like he loves the pod, which he doesn't need to, but it's
Thanks,
very
John.
kind of you, John. The question's more aimed at Mark, but we'd love to hear the rest of your thoughts as well. How did you find the transition from working in football full time on the pitch with all the training and the preparation to a life away from the game? Was it a struggle or was it more of a relief losing that routine? That's from John. Thank you, John.
It was interesting because when I'd left the Premier League, I was still active. So I was losing the razzmatazz of the Premier League to go to Saudi Arabia. So financially, it was easier to move to Saudi Arabia because it was setting my family up for life. But I didn't miss the Premier League as such because what I'd experienced in the 13 years being a Premier League referee, I'd refereed all the big games. So there wasn't really much else that I hadn't done. I'd done the FA Cup final, done the League Cup final, done the Charity Shield or whatever it was, Community Shield. So I'd done everything a referee could do. You couldn't at that time, you couldn't referee the FA Cup twice. It's happened again. It's happened since because they've lost a lot of top referees. But I never missed the Premier League. What I did miss was the Champions League nights. I missed the European nights. And that took about a year to really get out of my system. I loved the music. I loved the smell, the anthem. It was just the hairs on the back of your neck. And it was just brilliant being on the edge of when you were under that much pressure, knowing one mistake and you weren't getting another match that campaign in Champions League was the stress you needed. And the relief afterwards that you'd successfully managed the game without any major controversy was the ultimate. Yeah, there was always little things you could do better. But as long as you didn't have a major decision to deal with, or if you did, you got it correct, was an immense feeling afterwards.
Yeah, wow.
Premier League didn't have that. Probably referees probably feel that now, that you make a mistake, you know you're going to be back in a week or 2 weeks' time because it's your employment. Champions League was different. When football ended, for me, was COVID. So I'd went to Saudi Arabia for 2 years and then went to China for 1 year. And then COVID happened. So it was a decision that I had to make. Where do I go next? Because China was cancelled because of COVID. All the leagues in the world had locked in. So there was no really way to go to another country to be a referee. So I decided with UEFA that I would become head of refereeing in Greece. So I would manage the referees, educate the referees. So that kept me mind more, because Greece was a really tough league and you had the big four clubs, PAOK, Olympiacos, Panathinaikos and PAOK, and AEK, sorry. So you had all of that. So I never really understood how refereeing. I missed refereeing when Greece ended. Once Greece ended, after 2 years, I really missed it because I thought, I'm still young. I was, 46? Could still do another 6 years in the Premier League as such. The Premier League wouldn't have us back because I left. So what do I do next? And that was the hardest thing.
Did you ask if you could go back?
Never.
Why not?
Never asked us to come
So how do you know
back.
they wouldn't have had you?
Because they would have reached out. They knew I was available if they wanted us back. But the way the system was, because I'd deregistered and registered, I would have had to go down. Like Jared Gilly, who was an international referee in Australia, had to go into the League 2, League 1.
Do that, are you?
No, it's not that.
You're not going to take that suntan
Tell you what, that
to
was-
League 2.
I found it harder to referee that level than the Premier League because it was so predictable in the Premier League. You knew a pass was going to make it. In the lower leagues, that didn't happen. The ball was in the air a lot more, so it was harder to referee. So I'm not saying I didn't want that challenge, but what I did miss is the day-to-day training. What you did every day, you trained. You didn't do that anymore. You didn't get told what to do. You didn't get a lot of issues that you did in the modern game, a lot of abuse on social media. You didn't get accused of making mistakes and getting abused by fans. And also I got out of that. What I didn't miss is the VAR.
Yeah.
The damage that it's created over the years and the power. I'm not saying I was a power. People used to always say I wanted the power. No, I didn't. I just wanted to do my job to the best of my ability. But I believe that that's gone out of that with the VAR. And now the VAR is refereeing the game. So I don't miss it for all of that. But I do miss the drive in my head that it's probably, when you get into a routine. You do this, match day. This, match day. And you get so used to it. And then at the end of the season, you go on a break. Then you start again pre-season. And it's just a revolving. And the years go by very quickly. But you don't realise you're in it.
Yeah.
It's only when you realise out of it how much you miss it. But I don't miss the abuse.
Right, before we dive back into the football, we're in partnership with Wix Trade Pro. Tradespeople, you want to listen to this bit.
Absolutely. Because being a Wix Trade Pro member saves you money.
You can save 10% every single time that you shop in store or online. There's no minimum spend, no hassle, just savings.
Brilliant stuff.
On top of that, if you've got a big job coming up, lads, and you need to buy a load of materials up front, with Wix Trade Pro, you can now buy now and pay later. Powered by Billy. Pay interest-free within 30 days or 60 days and track your payment status easily through your Trade Pro account.
That's not all. You can click and collect within 15 minutes. And for even trickier jobs, order online or in store for delivery within 3 hours.
Blimey.
To sign up and start saving, just download the Wix Trade Pro app today. Billy offers unregulated credit agreements, UK businesses only, 18 plus, subject to status, T's and C's and late fees apply.
You can tell, can't you, when you see ex-players particularly, you can tell the ones who have fitted into the post-career lifestyle easier than the ones that haven't. And it tends to be the ones who you can usually tell by looking at them.
Yeah.
Because some of them keep themselves in very good shape and some of them lose it almost immediately, don't they? I'm not going to name names because it's cruel, but I occasionally see ex-pros around in press boxes doing bits of radio and stuff now, and honestly they look like they're twice the size as they were when they were playing. And when as soon as you lose that discipline and that routine to live your life that way, then it becomes a challenge, doesn't it? But you obviously didn't. I mean, we take the mickey out of you and all the rest of it, but the fact is that you still look after yourself.
I eat healthier,
well.
yeah. You eat healthier.
Don't you?
Yeah. I don't train as much as I used to, but I try to do a little bit and I eat healthier. Yeah. Going back to what you said, it was a valid point. I remember 2018, I was still in Saudi Arabia as a referee, but I had the chance to work for ITV in the World Cup in Russia. And I was lucky enough to work with people like Gary Neville, Ryan Giggs, and we used to train, that asked us to train in the gym, and I would go down the gym because I still had to train because I was a referee.
Where were you, in Moscow?
In Moscow,
Whereabouts were you?
In the Marriott Hotel.
In the centre of town?
Yeah, in the centre.
That's where I was heading to on the horse.
But the gym,
back in the day.
But that gym, so they would cut, like you were saying, Mark, 10 o'clock.
Before thinking, what's he talking about?
They got stables at that hotel.
Yeah. Sorry, Mark.
So we would train. They would say, "Mark, downstairs 10 o'clock." Where I would want to train because I was still an active referee.
Who
These
was-
guys, Gary Neville
Ryan Giggs.
and Ryan Giggs, were out of the game. But I couldn't believe their fitness levels.
Really.
Incredible. I mean, they couldn't believe
In
my
what
fitness
sense-
levels as well.
What was it that made it stand out? Tell me what it was that showed you that Giggs was a different kind of athlete.
The strength.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to play five-a-side against him.
Yeah.
In Moscow, where it was like an
What
ITV
a
team. So it was like one of the, like Gary, Ryan Giggs had his team, I had my team, we all had different teams. And we got to the final and we played Ryan Giggs' team. And I thought, I'd try and get close to him because he was the main man. And I'm thinking I've got to try and keep him quiet if we're going to win the game. And I got the ball and I just bounced off him. And I hit the deck and he just laughed at us and I thought, I ain't going there anymore.
Yeah.
He was like just the strength. When you hit players, you think,
Dad strength.
yeah.
So were
I just bounced off him.
So were you training every day of that tournament with all of the pundits? Were you all?
Yeah, so I would because I would have to train every day because I knew I was going back after the
Right,
World
so
Cup.
you had to.
Because I was still in Saudi.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was getting a break because Saudi win the World
Yeah.
Cup. The season was over. I had the chance to go and work close season for ITV. And also, it's great for me, not just to watch the referees, also it helps me with the referees because I had to bring them into Saudi, but also I could watch football. And I sometimes like watching football because I love watching tactics. That's one thing I learned as a referee, not just football. I wanted to understand tactics. I want to know what players are doing.
Yeah.
Then I can try and solve it, But I love training every day. And I loved that I could be active. And it was nice training with ex-players because it kept me motivated. Because one thing that's not great as a referee, you train on your own a lot.
Yeah.
And when you train on your own, you don't push yourself as much.
Just
But
10,
these guys were
15%.
pushing me.
Yeah, it's
I
brilliant.
was reading something last week. So obviously James Milner's just broken the appearance record, hasn't he, for the Premier League? And he was interviewed by everybody. So he was in all the Saturday papers. And one of the things that he said about, well, what will you do when you finish? And he said, well, I'll have to do something. He said, I'll probably start doing marathons or something. Because to him, life without a sporting purpose clearly wouldn't be a life. Because obviously,
What an athlete.
I know that if I finished doing my job tomorrow, I would find something else to do. I wouldn't see it as the end of my life. I think, right, it's the next stage of life, whatever it is, I'll go and find something else to do. But these guys obviously think I have to do I can't just do that. I can't just think, I'll just find something to do. They obviously, their minds work in that way or his mind, James Milner's mind works in that way where he thinks there's got to be an end game. And so for me, it'll be marathons. It's like the Kevin Sinfield thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You think Kevin Sinfield, we know what the money he's raised for M&D and all the rest of it. We know what he's done, but there's definitely a part of that is about keeping his life moving
But
forward.
it's goals.
In terms
It's
of a
goals,
purpose.
Ian, because once you lose them goals,
Yeah, goals.
or
Yeah,
the focus, if you've got something to focus for, then it keeps you going mentally. I think it's hard, and that's when people do struggle. That in the dark days is when there's nothing there for motivation. You've got nothing at the other side. One of the things I used to do when I didn't have motivation, and my family laugh, I just book a holiday. Because it was even if it was 6 months in advance, it would keep us motivated. It would keep us thinking, well, I'm going then. If I had nothing to look forward to, I would start spiraling.
I just start a new podcast.
Yeah. So we're doing that next year.
Yeah, James Milner, I was looking at the statistics on that, but he's still not near the top of the most minutes played, is he? Gareth Barry's still miles ahead of him, isn't he?
Yeah, because he's been very in and out well, more out than in, really.
That's true.
But I remember being with Danny Welbeck last season at Brighton for an interview. Obviously, Danny's at the back end of his career himself now. And he was saying, Milner, he said, even for me, he gives me a reason to aim high because to see the way that he trains. And it's all the cliche stuff.
Love to see
But
that.
it's the cliche stuff because it's true and it works. Punctuality, first there, last to go.
Sorry, lads, again.
I didn't mean that. But the way you conduct yourself.
Yeah,
And he said he's an absolute inspiration. He said, James Milner, not just to the young lads, but even to me, Welbeck said at 34, he gives me a reason to keep going.
I've never told anybody this, right? But I recently found myself on a golf course playing behind James Milner and his son. And it was such a thrill to see how much fun he was having with his lad. And the thing that made me chuckle about it, right, is that, you know, as somebody who grew up playing golf in Scotland when I was 7 or 8 years old, we used to call bad golf balls tatties, right? So you'd have a tatty. So I had a bag full of tatties. You know, every now and again you'd find a really expensive golf ball. And I couldn't help smiling at myself that James Milner's lad was knocking about 50 Pro V1 golf balls around this golf. And I was just walking around behind them saying, did you see my ball? No, I didn't see it, just picking them all up, putting them in my bag. He must have spent about 200 quid in golf balls for his lad. And I thought that signifies a veteran Premier League player. But in all fairness to him, they were having a lovely, lovely time. And he was ace, by the way, off the course. You have no idea who I am, but just thought a lovely fella.
I remember him when he played for Leeds all them years back. And I was on the same pitch. And you could see what a talent.
Yeah.
What a talent. But also, never used to say much, but he was polite.
Yeah.
You know, he was always, he had the right way.
Yeah.
There's certain players you know that are always going to be like that.
I interviewed him at Liverpool once, and he'd been to his grandmother's funeral that morning. I only know that because we had to reschedule the interview so that he could go. And I remember thinking, I wonder what it's going to, I wonder what it'd be like, or how he'll be, And I went in just to see him, and obviously I couldn't not say something, so I just said, sorry to hear about your grandmother. And his reaction to that was, in the nicest possible way, just to shut it down, because that's just the way, obviously, his mind works. It's like, not that he wouldn't care, of course he cared, but that was he'd probably go home and think about that later. But while he was in that room for half an hour doing work, which to him an interview with me is, he would do his work regardless of what he'd been going through in the morning or later that day. And I think, again, it's just another way that I don't think I'd have been able to do that.
Yeah. No.
If the shoe had been on the other foot and I'd been to my grandma's funeral, I'd just cancel the interview probably. So I'm not going to be able to do it.
I find that incredible with top athletes to park that stuff, that emotion. Oh, amazing.
And I find that all the time. And when people say to me, how do you think he's dealing with this? How do you think that's affecting him? Like Kyle Walker. Got a lot going on. All the stuff that's been on the front pages about Kyle Walker in his personal life in the last 5 years, that will only be a percentage of what's actually going on in Kyle's personal life, right? And that guy is able to have all that there and then go on and win a treble for Manchester City.
It's amazing,
play for England. I just don't know how their minds work like that.
But I always find that's where the top sportsmen are. Their mental strength. Because I always say this, and top sportsmen have said this, isn't it? Some of it's skill, but a lot of it's also mental strength.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't have made it to the top of refereeing if it wasn't for the mental strength, because you've got to stay focused, and your focus is one thing. Whatever happening outside of it, you can't let that affect you, because if you do...
Yeah. Didn't Luis Diaz play whilst his dad was kidnapped. And he carried on playing, didn't he?
So there's certain people have got that. Some people can't.
Look at David Bentley. We've talked about him a lot. Great player, but retired early. Eric Cantona retired early, didn't he? I knocked newspapers in the head because I couldn't handle it anymore. It was too much.
Yeah.
If you can cope and you can handle it, then you're.
But they get a lot more support than they ever used to.
They do.
Players get a lot of
on that
support.
point. By the way, on that point. So remember, we were talking about 3 weeks ago about Dwight McNeil.
And the possible move from Everton to Crystal Palace that fell through, and his partner went bananas about it.
Yeah,
rightly so.
Her point was, we're about to move our whole life from the northwest to South London, and the transfer's fallen down at the last minute, and Palace haven't been in touch, and we're left on our own, and we're very upset, blah, blah, blah. And I remember saying to you, the one guarantee we have here is that he will be very well treated when he gets back to Everton. And I'm sure he has been. However, McNeil played again recently for Everton. He was back in the team for that humdinger that they won at your place, Mark, at Newcastle.
Let's not mention that, please.
And afterwards, Moyes is asked about McNeil. David Moyes asked about McNeil back in the team, and how's it been? How have you been for him? What have you been? And Moyes said, the club pays his money. I don't think we should really need to support him too much. I don't treat him different than what I'd treat any other player. I just told him to get on with it. That jarred with me. That jarred with me.
However, is he saying that to the media? Because it's a message to the rest of your players, like, I'm not going to mollycoddle you, you're not getting special
I hope
treatment,
so.
I'm the hard man. But actually behind the scenes, David Moyes has put an arm around them and said, we'll look after you,
I
don't you
hope
worry,
so.
son.
I would hope so.
Might be just be an old school tactic.
Yeah, and look, I'm just putting that out there. It jarred with me. People listening might think that's the way it should be. Get on with it, son. You might think that. I don't know what you think. Jarred with me a little bit.
I would have hoped that the coach has gone to the player beforehand, because if I'd read that as a player, I'd feel a little bit.
And
See,
it could be
I would have used that as, I'm probably too soft, but I would have used that as an opportunity to make a public statement about how good we are as a club at looking after our players. It's a really good chance to show that Everton's famous for being a caring family club. What happened there was really difficult for his family to deal with, and let's not forget, there's a player doing a job here, but he has a wider family around him, blah, 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 blah.
But are we now saying that, because we've criticised players in the past when they wanted to leave after so many years. I get the argument if you're a Geordie or a Scouser, you're really attached to the city. Yeah. But are we now saying there's no loyalty in football? You're just now you're getting paid. You play football. The end of it. Because that's what that comment sounds like.
Yeah, you sound like a commodity there.
Interesting though, Gordon. I did then realise that when McNeil then played again in the game against Burnley, that Everton won last week, Moyes said afterwards, I'm really pleased for Dwight because he's probably had a tough time. So I just wonder if between the Newcastle game, when he said, don't need to give him any special treatment, we pay his wages, get on with it, son, and that game 3 days later, he's maybe thought, maybe that didn't come across as well as it should have.
Somebody had a word.
So he's now saying, yes, he has had a bit of a tough time. But I think the truth of it, Gordon, it's probably what you say, is that behind the scenes, there probably has been a little bit more empathy. Than
similar to the way this podcast run, really.
But if you're a coach and you've got him back within the squad, because he's not signing, is he? He can't sign late start of next season. You've got to integrate him back within that squad. You're not going to just say...
Good player for me.
He's a very good player.
Yeah, good player. Dynamic player. Good.
And
good
it just proves a point. They've won 2 off they've won
They have.
Burnley
Yeah,
and
back in the
Newcastle when he's been back in the team. So,
well, boys, on that note, I'd just like to say publicly that we're going to put an arm around Mark Clattenburg and make sure
I
that
can't reach.
I'm really sad.
He's had a real issue with a clothes addiction that we're working through together. He can't walk past the Reese without buying something.
This is Bocci, by the way.
Reese sandwiches.
Well, if we put our arms around his neck, are we not going to kind of come away with a load of fake tan on our...
You're just going to...
That's for you. I've got to give you a big cuddle so it comes off on you.
You need to give me a big tub of fake tan. That's what you need to give me.
I'm going to buy a bottle.
You're going to need a bigger bowl.
I'll just sit in it between now and going to America.
I think what we need to do is we need to make him orange.
No.
So when it comes on a podcast, he's ready for the World Cup in
orange. If you
orange.
did that to Ian, he'd be the same colour as that couch.
Let's talk about bathing.
What, Donald Trump?
About bathing.
Sorry, edit that. I need my visa first.
Talk about bathing. A mate of mine on a, let's say, a rather close to the knuckle WhatsApp exchange I was having with him this morning. He's telling me a story about something that in his mind once happened in a sunken bath. Now I'm not going to let you know what it was happening in a sunken bath.
No, please.
I made the point. I said, aren't all baths sunken?
You went into the ergonomics of the bathtub.
If they weren't, then they'd just be flat and all the water would spill out. All baths are sunken, aren't they?
Yeah. Ian's discussing Archimedes' principle while his pals are having a filthy WhatsApp conversation. If you were in my WhatsApp chat with that level of patter, I'd be like, Ian, piss off.
I just like to get things right in my mind so I can picture a scene.
That's a really interesting story of filth, but may I just discuss the what is known as the tide mark?
I was on the 6:30 from Stockport.
Who has a bath these days?
That's a really good point.
Ladyman.
I was on the 6:30 a.m. from Stockport to Euston. I've got to be careful about the level of bants that you're indulging in. Anyway, no one's answered my question.
Yeah.
Sunken baths are sunken. What's that, a tautology?
No, it's about I think that's about the level of the entry of the bath rather than the depth of the bath. Of course, all baths are sunken, but by sunken he means sunken into the floor, so you don't have to climb in. You step in or slide.
Oh, kind of like a jacuzzi.
Correct. Yeah.
What level was the bath water?
I think it was lower when they got out than it was when they got
in. Start. I think I'm the last generation of footballer to enjoy the team bath because they were phased out towards the sort of beginning of when I was playing football, and I was delighted about it because it was awful.
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest was one of the last
was it?
Premier League dressing rooms I would go in as refs, and they would
Yeah.
at half time they would fill the bath. Oh, and it was lovely, the bath.
Was it?
Getting a bath.
That's
Yeah.
good. I used to
But I
like
never
that,
had the
yeah.
problem of Ian Ladyman in that bath.
I just remember it being like brown soup, and there was always one.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
Oh.
Have you told me about Will Atkinson story?
No, go on.
You mentioned Forest.
Yeah.
Remember, we may not remember, but Big Ron was manager of Forest very briefly, the last time they were in the Premier League before they got back up under Steve Cooper. So this was 1998-99 season.
Van Hooijdonk era.
Right, so Van Hooijdonk they got up from the Championship under Dave Bassett. Van Hooijdonk went on strike, blah, blah. Terrible season. Bassett gets sacked at the Christmas, and they get Big Ron in to try and keep him up. It was what you remember, he got in the wrong dugout, all that. So Big Ron came to Forest to try and keep him up. I was a local lad on the local paper. And two things. I went and see him for the first time. He says, right, come into my office, son. I'm sitting there. He said, you want a drink? I'm thinking, oh, God, it's 11:30 in the morning, but it's Big Ron, so, yeah, okay. Opens his fridge, I'm thinking it's going to be champagne. He had nothing in his fridge other than Red Bull. Just Red Bull in his fridge. Right. Anyway, a couple of weeks later, I was down there to do my weekly kind of or daily catch up with him, and he's coming back from training, and he's like, come on, son, we'll do it in here. And I follow him into the players' entrance. Where the players' entrance is now at the City Ground. And you go through and you turn left into the manager's dressing room, which is about half the size of this room we're in now. And he starts getting undressed. And I'm standing there with my notebook and my recording device. And he starts getting undressed. And he said, hang on, son. He said, you what?
And your erection.
He says, I got son, I'll be with you in a minute. Start bollock naked and disappears around the corner. And I hear the shower come on. And he's like, come on, son. What are you waiting for? I'm like, what? He says, come on, let's do it. So I go around the corner. And there's Big Ron soaping himself off in the shower post-training, all the steam. And there's me, any knocks, Ron? Any injuries for the weekend?
Oh, man.
And about 5 years later, he's moved on from Forest. I'm on the Mail. I'm doing some old retro feature about West Brom. I think, and My Sport says, give Big Ron a ring. I said, that's not a bad shout. Because obviously Ron had that great team with Cunningham and Batson and Remy Moses and all this. So I thought I'd get hold of Ron. He'd remember who I am, probably. So I ring the number that I've got from him, and he does remember who I am. He says, yeah, Ian, he said, give us a ring back in 10 minutes. I've just finished a round of golf. Give us a ring back in 10 minutes and we'll do the chat. I said, right, no problem. Ring him back 10 minutes later.
He didn't.
He said, hello, son. I'm thinking, sounds a bit weird. Sounds a bit echoey. Ron, where are you? I'm in the bath, son. I'm like, there's some kind of like
To speak to the
fetish.
Daily Mail,
Is he trying to tell Ian Ladyman something?
Some kind of fetish thing going on here.
He's confused by the surname again.
Steamy interview.
We won't go down the bathtub stories because there are many. But thanks for telling me that. I'm going to repeat that story.
Sunken bath.
Okay, sunken bath. Get in touch with us, whistleblowers@dailymail.com. Find us on social media, just type in Whistleblowers. Mark, can you do the honours? Thank you very much for watching Whistleblowers. Remember, there are new episodes every Thursday and Tuesday, so don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for even more content. And follow us wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode.